My Dandavat pranams to everybody. Welcome to another session of Jaiva dharma. We've had a 10-day break where I've been recovering somewhat, and I think it's been very helpful for all of us just to recap the previous chapters, just to compound them, to make them stronger, more clear within ourselves. So I think it's been helpful. So now I'm in Delhi, and I'll be here for 2 nights, and then Radhakund tomorrow. So today is Monday, the 29th of July, 2024. So we'll have a kirtan, and then we'll start chapter 34 today. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Narayaniti Namine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shonyavari Pachatyari Shatarine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Gaura Prasthaya Bhutale Srimad Bhakti Pragyana Vishraviti Namine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Iti Namine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare 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 Ramo Oh Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare Hare Oh Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare Hare Oh Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Oh Hare Krishna Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol, Jaya Nityananda Rai, Jaya Nityananda Rai, Nityananda Rai, Jaya Nityananda Rai, Jaya Nityananda Rai, Jaya Nityananda Rai, Nityananda Rai. Oh Jaya Sachinandan Jaya Gaura Hari, Sachinandan Jaya Gaura Hari, Jaya Sachinandan Jaya Gaura Hari, Sachinandan Jaya Gaura. Oh Jaya Radha, Madana Mohan Radha, Madana Mohan Radhe, Radha, Madana Mohan Radha, Madana Mohan Radhe, Jaya Radha, Govinda Radha, Govinda Radhe, Radha, Govinda Radhe, Jaya Radha, Gopinatha Radha, Gopinatha Radhe, Radha, Gopinatha Radha, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe. Oh Radhe, 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 Radhe. Jai Shishi Guru Garanga Ganhavaga Giridhari, Radha Madan Mohan Ju Ki Jai, Radha Govinda Ju Ki Jai, Radha Gopinath Ju Ki Jai, Nityananda Rai Ki Jai, Sachinandana Gaura Hari Ki Jai, Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om, Astota Shishimad, Shila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai, Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om, Astota Shishimad, Shila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Shila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om, Astota Shishimad, Shila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai, Jai Jagat Guru Nitya Lila Pravishta Om, Astota Shishimad, Shila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai, Jai Paramahamsa Mahabhagavat Shila Gaurikishodas Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai, Jai Saptam Goswami Shila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai, Jai Vaishnav Sabhaboma Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai, Jai Shila Baladevi Dibhushan Gaudi Vedantacharya Ki Jai, Jai Shila Vishnath Chakravarti Thakur Ki Jai, Jai Narottam Srinivas Shyamananda Prabhu Treya Ki Jai, Jai Shila Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami Ki Jai, Jai Shri Rup Sanatan Shibata Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopal Patadasa Raghunath Sat Goswami Prabhu's Ki Jai, Arupa Nuga Guru Varga Ki Jai, Swarup Damodar Rai Ramananda Gaura Parsada Ki Jai, Namacharya Shalahardas Thakur Ki Jai, Prem Sigahol Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Shri Gauda Bhakta Brinda Ki Jai, Shri Anta Dvip Mayapur Simanta Dvip Gautam Dvip Madhya Dvip Koladip Ritu Dvip Janadvip Modun Dvip Rududvip Atmaka Navadvip Dham Ki Jai, Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopi Go Govardhan Dwara Savar Matmika Shri Braja Mandal Ki Jai, Shri Radha Kun Shama Kun Ganga Jamuna Devi Bhakti Devi Tulsi Devi Ki Jai, Shrimati Brinda Devi Maharani Ki Jai, Shrimati Yogamaya Purnamasi Devi Maharani Ki Jai, Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev Ki Jai, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Sudarshan Chakra ki jai, Ketra Mandal ki jai, Sadhava Vignavanasa Karishina Shingadev Bhagavan ki jai, Bhakta Prabha Shri Prahlad Maharaj ki jai, Charidham ki jai, Chari Sampradaya ki jai, Chari Acharya ki jai, Akada Mataraj Shri Chaitanya Mat ki jai, Shri Keshavji Gaudiya Mat ki jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Ananta Kota Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Samagata Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Om Agnati Mirandasya Gyananjala Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Jena Tasmaya Shri Guruve Namaha Guruve Gaura Chandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tarabhaktaya Namo Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Shrapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Shvabadantikam Priya Surupe, Dayata Surupe, Prema Surupe, Sahajiva Rupe, Nijana Rupe, Prabhueka Rupe, Tatana Rupe, Swavilasa Rupe, Anapita Chirim Chirat Kurunavartinokalo, Samarapaitam Unnata Ujvala Rasam Swabhakti Shriyam, Hari Purata Sundaratuti Katamba Sudipita, Sadashadare Kandare Swaratu Vasachinandanaha, Yam Pravajantam Anapetyam Apeti Krityam, Dvaipayano Viraha Katara Ajuhava, Putre titam mayatayo taravo vinidustam sarvabhutam hridim munimanatoshmi Bhaktiya vihina aparada lakshay Shiptashta karmadi tarangamadye Kripa mahitvam sharanam prapana Brinde namaste charanarvindam Bhajami radham aravinda netram Smarami radham maduram shmitasyam Vadami radham karuna baradram Tato mamanasti katina kapi Tavaivasmi najivami tvaivina iti vignaya radhe tvannayamam charantikam. I'm first of all offering millions of Dandavat pranams to the lotus feet of my most beloved Gurudev, Nitya Leela Pravishta Om, Astoktarzara Shishimat Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And I'm offering the same again, millions of times unto the lotus feet of my beloved Nitya Leela Pravishta Om, Astoktarzara Shishimat Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. And again, I'm offering millions of dandavats to our dearmost Namo Bhakti Vinodaya, Satchidanandanamane Gauda Shakti Swarupaya, Rupanuga Varayate, and all our Rupanuga Guru Varga, and all the Vaishnava and Vaishnavi devotees of the Lord, my dandavat pranams to all of you. Vanchakalpa Turubhyascha, Kripa Sindhubhyascha, Patitanam Pavnivyo Vaishnavi Namo Namaha. So now we'll chant Falshruti and make it our own. These prayers, this book, this Jaiva Dharma, the more we study it, the more we feel an affinity towards it. It becomes like ours, like Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. So this Falshruti also, very beautiful. Priti Vita Yatakata Dharma Name Chale Bhagavata Kahi Savai Parinipurna Chale. As indicated in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.1.2, all the philosophies on earth that are celebrated as dharma are utterly deceptive. Mundane dharmas, mundane conceptions, all that is nimitic, are going to cheat us of our goal, the gift of Mahaprabhu. Chale dharma chadikara satya dharmimati Chatuvargataya jivyara nitya premagati. One should completely abandon such deceptive dharmas and absorb his mind in true dharma. In other words, one should give up the fourfold goals of material life, dharma, artha, kama, moksha, and aspire solely for the ultimate destination of nitya prem. Everything else is relatively unimportant. Only this nitya prem should be our focus. This is a wise man will choose that road. Amitva mimam sabrame nija jadi buddhi nirvishesha brahm gyan nahi chidashuddhi. Those who are deluded identify themselves with matter. That is their error. However, one cannot be purified of such delusion by endeavors for nirvishesh brahm gyan. So the final option, if we can't transcend this body, or if we've transcended the bodily conception but we haven't connected in bhakti, then all that's left is moksha, this nirvishesh Brahm Gyan, which was aspired for by practically everyone, except those few purely guided souls towards the realm of pure bhakti, Shuddha bhakti. And Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is really highlighting this. He's always emphasizing this. Ivichitrata hine hale nirvishesha hoy, kala samatalya seha aprakrita noy. The Mayavadi thinks Sri Krishna to be subject to the limitations of time, such as birth and death, and considers that he is not transcendental. Thus he rejects Sri Bhagavan's Vichitrata, astonishing characteristics, paraphernalia, qualities, and lila. Through this vicious attempt, he is left with the philosophy of Nirvishesh Brahm. We came from the Brahm, from that Brahm impersonal conception, from the Pradhan. The Pradhan is actually where we have our birth, and we're made of this Tatashta Shakti within that Brahman, and we have chosen to come here. So to go back to that Brahman would be a great misfortune, that we haven't understood the greater teachings while we've been in this world. While we're in this world, the greatness of this world, the conceptions of Mahaprabhu, the conceptions of all our Guru Varga are here, from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, etc. Our Rupanuga Guru Varga, all of these teachings are here. If we neglect these teachings, what is the value of our birth at all? There's no value. Kanne jnana haya dharma ache sunishchaya prakriti hoila kahu aprakrita naya. Such base and contemptible gyan, which arises out of an attempt to dismember the divine form of Bhagavan, is only fit to be rejected. It is prakrita, materialistic, and should never be given credence as aprakata. This material world is temporary, has no value ultimately, except to take from this world the teachings, as I've just said, that are there and available. That has value. These teachings have value. So if we take these teachings during our lifetimes, then we have taken something of value from this world to bring us to a higher conception beyond this world, to this other dimension of life, the real dimension of life. So now we're coming to our chapter 34, Madhurya Ras Vichar, different categories of sakis. So we've had many descriptions coming through the previous chapters of the different aspects of the heroines and the heroes, etc. This Prasiddha Bhartika and the Swadhina Bhartika, etc. These different 8 types of heroines. But now we're coming to the categories of sakis. And I just want to, for a few moments, go over some of the vocabulary that we're going to come into now in this 34th chapter, and then try to familiarize ourselves with it a little bit at the beginning. Probably many of you are already familiar with it, but many of you won't be so familiar with it, and the terminologies, the vocabulary can be confounding or bewildering for us. So if we understand 2 principles initially, that Radhika herself she is Atyantiki Adhika. This is who is Radhika. She is Atyantiki Adhika. Atyantiki means that there is no one greater. No one surpasses her in all areas. No one is even a little less than her. This is in relationship to Radhika. There are Atyantiki Yuteshwaris. We spoke about the Yuts, the different groups of devotees. We understand the whole mood of what we're describing here is there are billions of different Lakshmis, Gopis, Shaktis of Krishna. And the Acharyas, particularly Rupa Goswami, he's defining the different characteristics and natures of each of them, in putting them in individual groups, but at the same time, within those groups, everyone has their unique relationship. So he's going to give us such a picture of the different emotional states of consciousness within all of the different gopis. This is what this chapter is about, the different categories of Sakis. So there are, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur described 300 billion Sakis taking part in the Ras Leela. So there's just a few vocabulary words that it's nice to get a handle on before we actually come in the chapter. And the first is to understand who is Radhika. She is Adyantiki Adhika. Adhika. This Adyantika means greater, or the greatest, as I've just described. And Adhika, Adi, this prefix of Adi, this means original. Like we have Adi Purush, we have Adi Ras. There are so many different prefixes of Adi. What else? Adi Purush, Adi Kar. Adi Kar, yes, Adi Kar. Kar means to do. It's from the verb ka. That's the root, to do. So Adi Kar, the origin of the ability to do. Sometimes we say Adhikar is like eligibility. It is eligibility. It also means qualities, and it means form. Adhikar. So Adhikavaya also, the original poet. So Adi, this word Adi. So we're familiar with the word Adi already. So Adhikar means that personality, that original personality. In other words, they're sitting in their original place, on their platform. So this Adyantiki Adhika, this is specifically, if it's alone, it's for Radhika. But if it's in reference to the Yuteshwaris, they also can be called the greatest in their utes. So they are also called Adyantiki Adhika. So that's the first terminology, Adyantiki Adhika. And then the second, relatively great, relative to the Adyantiki, are the Apekshiki. The Apekshiki are relatively, they are inferior to the Adyantiki, but still they are very great in their own ways. This Apekshiki, this is relatively great. That's the meaning of Apekshiki. So we have two words here. Adyantiki means the greatest, and Apekshiki means relatively great. So we would describe, for example, Lalita Saki as being Apekshiki. And this Apekshiki, in regards to Lalita Saki, we can say Prakara. This word Prakara. I'm just trying to introduce ourselves to a few words, terminologies, vocabularies that will be coming up in this chapter to give us some bearing on some familiarity with them. So Radhika herself is actually Adyantiki Adhika Madhya. This word Madhya, this means neither. Prakara means very bold, strong, even harsh. Prakara. We know Lalita Saki is like that. That's who she is. That's why she's able to perform such amazing services to both Radha and Krishna. And we often hear described as Pragalba or Pragalbata, this harshness or this strong anger. Of course, it's all transcendental, but it's just a mood, an emotion. So Lalita is Apekshika Adhika Prakara, and Radhika is Adyantika Adhika Madhya. Madhya means neither harsh nor soft. So Prakara is harsh, and Madhya is in the middle, and Mridvi is soft. This word Mridvi will come up in the chapter, Mridvi. M-R-D-V-I, mridvi. And this means very soft, soft in the emotional aspects. So we have these three terminologies, prakara, madhya, and mridvi. And we've had the two initial ones of adyantiki and apekshika. So if you're writing these down, it's very helpful to begin to not be too bewildered by the term. Because once we get over the vocabulary, then we can enter into the real heart and meanings of what these descriptions are about. And it becomes very tasteful. And then there's some other words just to help us, is sama. Sama means equal. We have, like in that Brahmabhuta Prasanatma, Nasochati Nakanchati, sama sarveshu bhuteshu. Sama is mentioned many times, so this sama word is not a foreign word for us. Sama, it means equal or equipoised. So sama, those who are in the middle, sama. And then we have another word, lagu. Lagu means relatively less. Sometimes it's translated as inferior, but there's nothing inferior in the spiritual realm. These are all descriptions of the Sakhi's emotions. So a lagu, for example, Sakhi is someone who's perhaps shy, more shy, and will sit more in the background, and is being termed like somewhat inferior in a sense, but it's not actually inferior. It just means someone who has that characteristic of not pushing themselves forward. That's a lagu. So then we have combinations. We have sama lagu. That means equipoised as a lagu who's somewhat inferior. And then we have sama madhya. These are equipoised, and madhya, the mood is like a balance between very passionate and soft. Madhya. Radhika is madhya. Radhika is adyantika, adhika, madhya. This is who is Radhika. Lalita is apekshika, adhika, prakara. If we get Radha and Lalita down and understand those meanings, then the rest of it will sort of slot into place more easily. So we have all these different descriptions of the emotional states. So basically these terminologies, sama, lagu, and mridvi. Sama means equal, lagu is less, and mridvi is soft, madhya is in the middle, prakara is more harsh, more angry, more bold. So these are the principal words in the vocabulary that I've described them all just in a few moments. So I know when I first began to absorb in this topic, they were very foreign to me. But after a short space of time and just application of trying to understand their significance and why is Rupa Goswami describing. This is actually all from Hindi psychology, basically. It's all describing the psychological, emotional makeup of the different individuals. That's why it's so fascinating to have the privilege to enter so deeply into the moods of the ras, tattva topics, gifted by Rupa Goswami in this way. So that's just a very, very brief overview that I thought would complement or help us in not feeling lost in this chapter if you get confused by all the terminology. But we've sent a file to you with all the different kinds of nyayaks in each yut and the different combinations, the yuteshwaris, and basically I've mentioned everything just now. Prakara, bold; sama, equipoised; lagu, somewhat inferior; mridvi, soft; madhya, balanced in the middle. So we'll just gradually appreciate these terminologies in the vocabulary. Okay, so we'll begin the chapter, and I hope that what I've said will enhance our ability to appreciate what Bhaktivinoda Thakur is expressing here. So the next day, Vijay Kumar honored Prasad somewhat earlier than usual and set out along the seashore towards Kashi Mishra Bhavan. When he saw the ocean waves, the sentiments of the ocean of Ras began to surge within his heart. Overwhelmed with bhav, he thought to himself, aha, the ocean is inspiring bhav to swell within me. Understand this mood, that we get a picture of Vijay Kumar who's totally immersed in this topic. This has become his 24/7 meditation. This is what's needed or necessary for the sadhak who wants to come into this understanding of what is bhakti ras. It demands a total absorption away from the material considerations and distractions of life. So this meditation, we see that Vijay Kumar is completely absorbed in that, 100%, to the extent where he's just walking on the beach, and as soon as he sees the ocean waves, he immediately begins to feel great affinity for remembering rasa. So, aha, the ocean is inspiring bhav to swell within me. Although it is a material substance, it is evoking my deeply concealed transcendental sentiments. It is just like the ocean of ras that my Prabhu has described to me. When I leave my gross and subtle bodies far behind, so he's understanding his gross body and his subtle body made up of so many different desires. That's the container for the desires. We have 4 types of karma. We have the parabdha, aparabdha, then we have the kuta and the bij. The kuta and the bij are these seeds of desires that haven't even fructified. That's the most subtle. And then we have those seeds that have fructified, and then we have those seeds that have actually germinated. That's the aparabdha, and then this is the parabdha. This is the manifestation of it. So these 4 are all contained and propelled within from the subtle body. So the subtle body and the gross body both are material. That's the subtle body is the mind, intelligence, false ego. They're both material. So they both must be purified, and to a degree where we can't disregard our gross body, we can't disregard the subtle body, but we see the priority of our focus on the spiritual conception, which has nothing to do with this material world again at all. And in this case, we will be feeling so much anand, so much bliss and peace, not connecting seriously to this material world, but connecting to the spiritual world. When I leave my gross and subtle bodies far behind, that means complete absorption in the spiritual realm, remembering all these different types of sakis, etc. I find myself sitting upon the shore of the ocean of rasa, relishing rasa in my manjari swarup. My manjari swarup. It's my manjari swarup. That is the benediction of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Swa Bhakti Shriyam. This is the gift that Mahaprabhu has come to give. He has not come to give Sakhi Bhav. He's come to give Manjari Bhav. And this is such a priceless jewel, because in that mood of Manjari Bhav, that Manjari is sold out, 100%, to her Yuteshwari, which practically in our Gaudiya line is always Srimati Radhika. And we will only hear her name glorified through all the acharyas. I want to be a maidservant of Srimati Radhika. This is what Rasa Tattva is about. How to actually come into this mood. It's not speaking to us about how to give up the material world. That's supposed to be behind us by the time we come to this place. Or our interest has been grabbed by these rasic topics that only are manifesting in the Madhurya realm of Braj. It's in this realm of Vrindavan. So if we're hearing these Rasik Vrindavan pastimes, we're going to be attracted to want to know more about the Sakis, more about the Manjaris, more about who are Radha Kaya, the Kaya Vyuha of Radhika, etc. All of this is going to inspire us more and more, moment by moment. So relish my Manjari Swarup. Krishna, who is imbued with the luster of a fresh monsoon rain cloud, is the exclusive Lord of my life's breath. Krishna is the Lord. Shri Radhika, the daughter of Vrishabhanu Maharaj, who keeps her gorgeous presence at Krishna's side, is my be-all and end-all of my very existence. So it's not separating Radha and Krishna. When your nishta is towards Radhika, you can't be favorable towards Radhika and ignore Krishna. What is the mood in Radhika's heart is only to Krishna, that Krishna nishta. So it's an understanding of this. This requires diligent practice and bhajan and focus and mercy more than anything. Mercy of Guru, mercy of our Guru Parampara, to pick us up and carry us into this place. This ocean is the transformation of Radha and Krishna's intimate love, pranaya. He's looking at the material ocean, but he's imagining it to be the ocean of transcendental love. There are waves, etc. within the ocean he's going to describe. The rows of waves are the different types of bhav that combine to comprise rasa itself. So we've talked about that already. What is the vyabhachari bhavs, these 33 or sanchari bhavs, these emotions that come and agitate the lake of the sthai bhav. And when these waves rise and settle down, they create rasa by their manifestation up and down and so on. It's creating these moods of emotions. This ocean is the transformation of Radha and Krishna's intimate love, pranaya. The rows of waves are the different types of bhav that combine to comprise rasa itself. I am a Saki on the shore, and the manifold waves rising up in this ocean are bhavs which drown me in prema ras. He's saying he's a Saki. He's already said that he's thinking of his Manjari Sarup, so don't get confused here, thinking, oh, now he's suddenly a Saki. No, he's a Saki because that's female, but he's still in his Manjari Sarup, which is a maidservant of Sri Radhika. Krishna is the ocean of Ras. That is why the color of the ocean is exactly like his. We look at the ocean, it's a beautiful monsoon blue color. The waves of love in that ocean are Srimati Radhaji. She creates the rasa within the ocean. Krishna is just practically neutral in one sense. My Gurudev often describes like Nirvishesh Brahm, without the waves coming from. It's Radhika's love that agitates Krishna first, and then Krishna is going to reciprocate with that love. But the love is coming from Radhika. Initially, it's like the Shakti. It's like the illumination around the sun. The sun itself is surrounded by illumination. The illumination is the energy of the sun, and the energy is acting on the planet of the sun. The sun itself is just radiating, but the energy is actually stimulating the sweetness or the pranaya of the relationship between the energy and the energetic, the Shakti and the Shaktiman. This is the principle. The waves of love in that ocean are Srimati Radhaji, and that is why the ocean waves are white. We see the cresting waves of the ocean, they're white. The high towering waves are the Sakis, and the small waves are their maidservants, Paricharika. Among them, I am a follower of a Paricharika, like a particle of spray on a distant shore. This is giving us a little bit picture of the enormity of what we're just going to dive into now, of the billions and billions of different descriptions of the characteristics and emotional states of all the different Sakis and Manjaris. What is their states also? So he's feeling very small and insignificant in relationship to all the Sakis in the waves. Vijay Kumar derived great delight from these beautiful meditations. Actually, if we go through this again ourselves, we can read this so many times and immerse ourselves in, when we're alone, this mood of Vijay Kumar, witnessing the waves and having this feeling of the Sakis and their moods on top of the lake of the Staibhav. After a short while, his external consciousness returned, and continuing slowly on his way, he gradually arrived at the residence of Sri Guru Goswami. He offered his sastang pranam and sat down near his Gurudev, feeling very insignificant. Every sentence of Bhaktivinoda Thakur has significance, and he's feeling very insignificant because Bhaktivinoda Thakur himself has written one time, he says, there was a question once asked, why are all the acharyas expressing themselves as being so fallen and so insignificant? They're always saying like that. And the Bhaktivinoda Thakur describes, he says, when you come to the shore of the material ocean, you naturally feel dwarfed or insignificant by the power of the ocean. When you see the strength of the ocean, it makes you feel very small. What to speak of if you come to that transcendental ocean? Then we have no standing. We're just in awe. So that mood is what is in the heart of Vijay Kumar. He's feeling very insignificant. Sri Guru Goswami then inquired with affectionate concern, Vijay, is everything all right? Because in that very humble condition, then it's like we're not so externally exuberant or anything like that, just quietly sitting. Vijay, Prabhu, your mercy alone is the very root of auspiciousness for me. I want to thoroughly understand the different categories of Sakis so that I may become their follower. So now his interest is excited by who are all these different Sakis who worship Brajendranandan Shyamsundar. What is the nature of all these different personalities and so many different groups? We have the principal 8 Parama Preshta Sakis, and then we have the Priyanam Sakis, and then we have the Pran Sakis, the Nitya Sakis, and the Sakis. 5 types of Sakis described, and then there's millions of them in different groups and so on. This is what we're going to describe today. Goswami. Vijay, it is beyond the capability of any jiva to describe the glories of the Sakis. But still, I have realized it practically because I have been under the Anugatya guidance of Sri Rupa. The beautiful Sakis of Braj cause the complete and perfect unfolding of Prem Leela. They are the storehouse of trust in Braj Yugal, the divine couple of Braj. Only one who is very fortunate has the desire to know clearly about the elaborate considerations concerning the Sakis. The divisions I have already mentioned, namely Adhika, we already discussed that today, Sama and Lagu, we discussed that today also, and Prakara, Madhya and Ritvi, we also discussed these today, also exist among the Sakis who are affiliated with a Ute. So now we're putting them in the categories. I have described all these divisions to you yesterday. In this connection, it is always befitting to remember the authoritative statements of Sri Rupa Goswami. Prem Sambhogya Sat Gunadyadi Adyadikat Adhika Saki Sama Tat Samyato Jnanaya Tal Lagudvat Tata Lakhu Durlangya Vakya Prakara Prakaryata Gora Vichotita Tad Undatva Bhavan Mridvi Madhya Tat Samyam Agata Atyantiki Kand Akid Adikadivadi Vadi Beda Purvavad Atra Saha Swa Yute Yuta Nataiva Syat Atra Yatyantikadika Sa Kvapi Prakara Yute Kvapi Madhya Mridu Kvachit. This is from Ujvala Nilamani, Saki Prakaran 3 to 5. My Gurudev, by the way, has given a translation of this Ujjvala Lilamani, and it hasn't come out in English yet. But we have the little, as I've said before, the little Kiran, which is the compilation from Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, saying the same things. Translation: some of the Sakis are called Adika, greater. So we describe that today, the etymology, Adi and Kara. Adi means original, supreme, and Kara means to do. So we describe that etymology. Personally, I find knowing the etymology of many of these words is very helpful for appreciating that this language, Adika, like we have Ahankar. Ahankar means I am the doer. Kar means to do. So Ahankar, I am the doer. That means the false ego. And Adhikar is describing my eligibility, who I am, what is my identity, Adhikar, what is my topmost identity, Adhikar. Due to the abundance of their transcendental qualities and their great fortune in the matter of prem. Yes, all of these descriptions are relative to prem. This Sama, Lagu, Mridvi, Madhya, Adhikar, Atyantika, they're all relative to prem. They're all there. Some Sakis are celebrated by the name Sama because they are equal in qualities. Sama Bhuteshu, we say, is equipoised. While others are less endowed with those qualities are called Lagu. So we also describe this today. A Saki whose words are not easily transgressed, Dulangyar, is renowned as Prakara. Prakara is someone like Lalita Saki, very bold, very strong. So this has its beauty. As much as the beauty is there in the Lagu, the Lagu also has their beauty. Each has its particular beauty, but there's a description of them to make us appreciate the variety, the immensity of all these Sakis. A Saki who lacks gravity is called Mridvi, very light sort of type personality, Mridvi, soft. And one who has an average amount of gravity is called Madhya. This is Radhika. Radhika is Madhya. She's not so harsh and she's not so soft. She's in the middle. One should also understand divisions such as Adyantika Adhika among those Sakis. Adyantika, we describe who are the greatest. The Yuteshwari is Adyantika Adhika. They are in charge of the Yuts, so they are Adyantika or Adyantiki in her own group, although she may be known as Prakara or Mridu in other Yuts. It's a whole topic separate from what many of us have discussed or put our consciousness into previously, but it's the whole world of Bhakti Ras being opened up for our entrance into there or not, depending on our enthusiasm. That's all. Vijay. The Adyantika Adhika Yuteshwaris are the most prominent Sakis in their own group. So Adyantika means greater than. There's no one greater than them. They are of three types according to their respective natures. Adyantika Adhika Prakara, that's strong, bold. Adyantika Adhika Madhya, that's in the middle. And Adyantika Adhika Mridvi, that's more soft. You have already described them. Now, by your coarseness grace, please explain this subject elaborately. Vijay Kumar wants to get right into it. Goswami, only the Yuteshwaris are called Adyantika Adhika. So they are the great ones, those Yuteshwaris who are in charge. Yut Ishwari. Ishwari means the controller. So Yutishwari, Yuteshwari, the controllers of the group. A Yut is the group. So Yuteshwari is the group leader. So they are great, Adyantika Adhika. Unlimitedly great. Shri Radhika is in a group, is in a category separate to everything. She is unlimitedly great overall to every. She is at Yantika Adhika to everybody, but the Yuteshwaris individually are at Yantika Adhika in relationship to their own groups. Now, by your causeless mercy, please explain this subject elaborately. Goswami. Only the Yuteshwaris are called Adyantika Adhika, unlimitedly great. The other group members are classified as Apekshika Adhika, relatively great. So these two words distinguish between them, Adyantika and Apekshika. Apekshika means relatively great, but not as great as the Adyantika. The Adyantika are the greatest. The Apekshika, like Lalita Sakhi, for example, are less. So I described this in the very beginning. If we can catch these two expressions even, Adyantika and Apekshika, we'll be very peaceful in hearing all these terminologies. Apekshika Sama, relatively equal, and Apekshika Lagu, relatively unimportant. So try to understand this word unimportant as I've described. This word unimportant not meaning inferior in anything like that. It means that they've just taken themselves a mood of deep submission. It's a very sensitive place, the Lagus. Relatively unimportant. And there are also 3 kinds in each of these 3 groups. So there are 9 different types. Apekshika Adhika Prakara, Apekshika Adhika Madhya, Apekshika Adhika Mritvi, Apekshika Sama Prakara, that means equipoised in harsh, not fully harsh, Apekshika Sama Madhya, and Apekshika Sama Mritvi. These divisions. Perhaps some enthusiastic person will write like a graph of all these. It's quite simple once you start to catch the terminologies, but we need to have more of a picture, like some connecting boxes some graphic artist will do one day. So there are 9 types altogether, yes. Apekshika Sama Mridvi, Apekshika Lagu Prakar, Apekshika Lagu Madhya, and Apekshika Lagu Mridvi. So we should be able to follow this now. There are also 2 types of Adyantika Lagu. Adyantika means the topmost. So the topmost of the Lagus. The Lagus are less, but the topmost amongst the less. Adyantika Lagu and Sama Lagu, which added to the other 9 makes 11. So when we include the Yuteshwari, there are 12 types of Nayaks in every Yut. Vijay. Prabhu, please be so merciful as to tell me about the groups of the most famous Sakhis. Goswami, the Sakhis headed by Lalita in Sri Radha's Yut are in the category of Apekshika Adhika Prakara. This is Lalita Sakhi. We described this before. The Sakhis headed by Vishaka in the same group are in the Apekshika Adhika Madhya. Vishaka is not like Lalita Sakhi. She's not so bold. She's more so. Vishaka and Radha are born in the same moment. They have that much more softer. Not soft, but in between. Madhya. Mridvi would be soft. And Sakhis such as Chitra and Madhuri are Apekshika Adhika Mridvi. Yes, they are more soft. In comparison with Srimati Radhika, the Asta Sakhis headed by Sri Lalita are Apekshika Lagu, relatively unimportant. So compared to Radhika, they're relatively unimportant. Vijay, how many types of Apekshika Lagu Prakara Sakhis are there? Goswami, there are 2 sorts of Lagu Prakara Sakhi, left wing, Vamya, and right wing, Dakshina. Vijay, what are the symptoms of Vamya? Goswami, they are always eager to accept honor, and they become angry when there is any laxity in offering them respect, and they are not at all easily controlled by their Nayak. Such Nyayikas are called Vamya. In Radhika's Yut, Sakhis such as Lalita are called Vamya Prakara. Radhika is also Vamya mood, this contrary mood. We see the opposite of that is Dakshin. is compliant, like Chandravali. She will always agree if Krishna chastises, oh yes, you're right, my Supreme Lord, yes. But Radhika would say, no, you are wrong, Krishna. She will have that mood. So Krishna likes both the moods. It's not that one is necessary. He likes the mood of Radhika the best, but at the same time he loves all of the different moods. That's why they manifest. Radhika is the one who's manifesting all these moods. All of these Sakis have all manifested from Sri Radhika to please Krishna. So Radhika's only focus is to please Krishna. So none of these groups are less in any sense, because they're all pleasing Krishna in some way or other. So just by listening and hearing these descriptions of these personalities, if we hear it even once, it'll never leave us. It'll just keep floating around. And sometimes at different times in our lives, it'll come to the surface and we'll focus on it more clearly. Radhika. Please describe the symptoms of Dakshina. Goswami, the Nayak who does not have man, who is frank and expresses herself openly, and who becomes submissive to the sweet words of the Nayak, are called Dakshin. In Srimati Radhika's youth, Sakis such as Tungavidya are called Dakshin Prakara. Prakara means also bold, so Dakshin, submissive and bold at the same time. Vijay, who are Atyantika Lagu? Goswamis, Sakis such as Kusumika can be called Adyantika Lagu because they are gentle in all respects and they are insignificant in comparison with the other Sakis. Vijay, what are the Sakis' activities when they act as messengers, duties? So now we're coming into a slightly different topic here. We're going to come, the messengers, the duties are the messengers. Goswami, when the Sakis act as duties, when the Sakis are acting as duties, then there are specific messengers who only act as messengers, but when the Sakis themselves take on that role, it's a different consideration. When the Sakis act as duties, it is their duty to arrange a meeting, avisara, in order to unite the Nyayak and the Nayika, who are staying at a distance from one another. Vijay, can the Sakis' girlfriends be Nayikas? Can the Sakis' girlfriends be Nayikas? Okay, can they be the heroine also, the Sakis? Goswami, the Yuteshwaris are eternally Nayikas. They're always eternally the supreme heroine. But his question is about the other Sakis. Can they also be the heroine in different circumstances? The Apekshika Adhika Prakara, Apekshika Adhika Madhya, and the Apekshika Adhika Mritvi Sakis have the intrinsic natures of both Nyayak and Saki. They are Nayikas in relation to those who are Lagu in comparison. So those who are somewhat less important, then the Prakara will appear like Nayakas. They'll appear more in comparison. The Sakis in relation to those who are Adhika in comparison, so they can be called almost heroines, Naika Praya. Apekshika Sama Prakara, Madhya and Ridvi are known as Dvisama. That is, they are Sakis to those who are Adhika, great, and Nayak to those who are Lagu. Those who are in the category of Apekshika Lagu, Prakara, Madhya and Ridvi are mainly Sakis. Adyantiki Lagu Gopis are Yuteshwaris, and according to the calculation of the three types of Sakis that I mentioned before, they are in the fifth category. They are Nitya Sakis. In relation to the Yuteshwari, Apekshika Sakis are Sakis and duties, not Nayikas. For the Adyantiki Lagu, Nitya Saki, all are Nayikas, not duties. So I think I'm going to stop here today, because actually this is somewhat of a separate topic from what we discussed in the beginning, but it's still connected, of course, but it's coming into a different consideration. But I think what we have to do is to grasp the fundamental principle of these descriptions. Why are these descriptions being given? To make us appreciate the unique speciality of every single Saki, and how glorious every single Saki is in her relationship with Krishna, and what is the nature of that relationship with Krishna. Some will be in a bold mood, some will be in a more compliant mood, and some will be in a very submissive mood. So this all has sweetness for Krishna. And then there are millions of varieties in between there. So all of this is like tastes, so to speak, of this amorous relationship between Radha and, or between the gopis and Krishna. This is what Krishna is tasting. This is why he's Raso Vaisa. He's the embodiment of all this ras. He can absorb. My Gurudev used to explain that Krishna is like a music shop owner that has billions of instruments, but he can't play any of them. But he has them all. In other words, they're all dormant within him. All the potential to taste these. But he has a friend who can play all of them, and that is Radhika. She can play absolutely every single instrument. Every single emotion that Krishna has in his heart, she can pull out and play and touch. It's incredible. Just to make these considerations is incredible for us to think about this, because it naturally brings us so much into a complete personal conception of Krishna and the Sakis. It leaves impersonalism far, far, far behind. We've walked far away from anything impersonal today by all these discussions and so on. So it's so purifying just to hear, even we don't understand, even we don't follow, but gradually by repetition, we will follow. Because it's not, if I can follow to some degree, I'm not so intelligent or intellectual at all. And if I can grasp it to some degree, then anyone can grasp it. So I think there's hope for all of us to understand these topics. Srila Gurudev ki jai, Rupanuga Guru Varga ki jai, Ananta Kota Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki jai. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol, Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol, Pancha Kalpa Turubhyascha, Kripa Sindhavevacha, Atitanam Pavnibhyo Vaishnavino.